Henry Cejudo is the next guy in line for the bantamweight title. A very bold statement by me, but if you think about it, not that much, because the only threat to Henry Cejudo's title shot is Sean O'Malley. And Sean O'Malley admitting that him fighting Aljamain Sterling is not as big as him fighting Chito Vera supports that idea, as well as Dana White tossing around the idea of Henry Cejudo in the press conference. Supports that idea. So then you also have Marlon Chito Vera, who doesn't have an opponent and was previously called out by Corey Sanhagen, who was then offered a fight but then declined the fight, supports that idea. You could make Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera, and also make Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling, because a lot of people might tell you that Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling could be a bad matchup for Sean O'Malley, stylistically. So then if you have Henry Cejudo come in, then beat the Division 3 wrestler, he could be fighting Sean O'Malley, because Sean O'Malley could have a better chance. Now, I don't know if he does have a better chance or not, but what I do know is that Aljamain Sterling might lose to Henry Cejudo. And if Sean O'Malley loses to Henry Cejudo, you have a win-win situation here. If Henry Cejudo beats Sean O'Malley, and Henry Cejudo is very aware that he's gonna have to defend the bantamweight title, so then if you have Henry Cejudo winning against Sean O'Malley, you may lose a star, but you're gonna have Henry Cejudo who can fight Volkanovski. And just imagine if, big if, Islam loses to Volkanovski. You have champ versus champ. Where have you seen this? Never. I've never seen this. This will be the first time in our sport when we are gonna have champion versus champion. Champion versus champion. So to me, if you have Sean O'Malley and Henry Cejudo fight, you have a win-win situation. If Sean O'Malley wins, you now have a star. If Henry wins, you may lose a star, but you still have that Volk fight who's big. And I know for the long-term investment, you want Sean O'Malley to win. You want Sean O'Malley to become champion, because Henry Cejudo said that he is going to leave once he's the double champion, or once he's a two-time double champion. He did say that. But for the long-term investment, of course you want Sean O'Malley to win. And if you put Henry Cejudo against Aljamain, the risk over reward is very ideal. The risk of Henry Cejudo losing is very slim, but the reward you're gonna get if Henry Cejudo does win is massive, because Sean O'Malley could have a better chance of winning the belt against Henry Cejudo than Aljamain Sterling, who can strangle him and stay champion. So I really don't know who's the better matchup for Sean O'Malley, because it's very interesting, because I haven't seen somebody break this fight down. I haven't seen anybody, not a very credited or a very accomplished analyst, talk about who the better fight for Sean O'Malley is. So I don't know if you do want to make Henry Cejudo versus Sean O'Malley, but if Henry Cejudo is a better matchup than Sean O'Malley, then you could easily make Henry Cejudo the next guy in line. Because then you're going to have a win-win situation where if Sean wins, you have a star. If Henry Cejudo wins, you have that fight with Volk. But if you do Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling immediately, people are not really gonna like that idea. Sean O'Malley, in some people's eyes, is gonna get a title shot coming off a robbery win. As well as Aljamain Sterling beating a one-armed junkie. So I really don't know what the better option is. But let's just say Henry Cejudo is the better matchup for Sean O'Malley. Then of course you're gonna wanna make this fight. But then how are you gonna matchmake the rest of the division? Because you have Peter Yan, who could easily fight Marab, and then Sanhagen, who could easily fight TJ Dillashaw. Problem solved. So I don't see why you wouldn't want to do Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling, knowing that Sean O'Malley could beat Chito Vera. The risk over the reward, ideal. As well as Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling, ideal. So why not make this fight knowing that you could have a win-win situation?